All right, so today we're diving into something that might seem a little counterintuitive, especially in the world of business and deal making. Have you ever heard of black hat thinking?
Yeah, it's not about like hacking or cybersecurity, though I guess there are some connections there.
Right, exactly. Not what you'd expect in a business context. It's more like imagine you're on the verge of closing this massive deal, everything's lined up perfectly, you're practically popping champagne. Black hat thinking says, not so fast.
Yeah, it's about taking a step back, ditching the rose-tinted glasses and
Yeah.
asking yourself the tough what if questions.
So we've got these two sources, one called Complex Deal Pursuit, and this YouTube video on black hat deal reviews. They both emphasize this idea of proactively hunting down every potential pitfall, every bump in the road before it even registers on the radar.
It's like, you know how they stress test bridges before opening them up? You don't want that thing buckling under pressure. Black hat thinking does that for your deals, make sure they can handle anything.
Okay, so instead of celebrating the best case scenario, you're almost like purposefully putting your deal through the ringer.
Yeah, you're trying to find the weak points, right? But not to be a downer. It's about creating a culture where everyone's comfortable pointing out those what ifs and then, importantly, brainstorming solutions together.
What I find really interesting is that YouTube video, the one on Black Hat Deal Reviews, they actually walk through a scenario. Like, picture this. Sales reps presenting a fantastic deal, everyone's excited, high fives all around, and then someone just throws out this curveball question.
And these aren't just random questions, they're laser focused, designed to uncover blind spots. What if, like, the main decision maker suddenly gets cold feet or a competitor swoops in with a better offer? Things you might not want to think about, but you have to.
Okay, now that sounds like it could get a little tense, right?
It could, but that's where, having a good facilitator, someone who can steer the conversation towards solutions, is key. Remember, it's about making the deal stronger, not tearing it down.
Right, so it's not about placing blame, it's about saying, okay, this could happen, how do we prepare for it?
Exactly. Anticipate objections before they even come up. The YouTube video actually highlights that this whole process puts the sales rep in the driver's seat, which I think is important.
Right, so they're not just on the receiving end of criticism, they're actively shaping the strategy.
Yeah, taking ownership. And the complex deal pursuit material, they had this case study where a company using black hat thinking saw way fewer deals fall through because of surprises, like a 15% reduction, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, that's huge. So it's not just about damage control, it's a competitive advantage.
100%. When you've already thought through all the what ifs, you're just better equipped to adapt when things inevitably change.
So we've talked about asking the tough questions. But what does that actually look like in practice? Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're that sales rep again. You're presenting a deal to your team and everyone's stoked, right? High fives all around. This is where someone, maybe the sales manager or someone from a different department, puts on their black hat thinking cap.
Time to get real.
Exactly. And they start asking those what if questions. Like, what happens if the economy takes a nosedive right before the contract signing? How does that impact the client's budget? How does that impact us?
Suddenly everyone's a little less celebratory.
Right. It's about shifting the mindset. The complex deal pursuit material calls it red teaming. It's like challenging all those assumptions, exposing those hidden weaknesses that could completely derail the deal.
I bet that's intimidating, especially for the sales rep who's poured their heart into this deal.
Oh, for sure. That's why it's so important that it's done constructively. No finger pointing, no blame games. It's about problem solving as a team.
So how do you prevent it from becoming a blame game?
Well, a skilled facilitator is key. Someone who can steer the conversation, make sure it stays focused on solutions. Remember, you want to make the deal stronger, not tear it apart.
So instead of just saying, what if the client backs out,
Yeah.
you're prompting the team to think about why they might back out and, more importantly, what you can do to prevent it.
Exactly. Anticipate those objections before they even come up. And that's something the YouTube video really emphasized. This whole process actually empowers the sales rep.
How so?
Because they're not just sitting there taking it, they're actively involved in coming up with the solutions. It's about taking ownership. And you know what? The complex deal pursuit people, they actually found that teams who use black hat thinking consistently, they see a lot fewer deals fall apart because of unforeseen circumstances.
Really? Like how much fear?
They cited one case study where a company reduced their deal slippage by 15% just by integrating these principles.
Wow.